Imagine this. ICE agents show up at your front door at 3 a.m. They don't have a judge-signed warrant. They don't need your permission. They just decide they want in. And according to this leaked internal memo, they're now allowed to kick the door in. No judge, no probable cause reviewed by anyone outside ICE. Just their own self-issued paper saying, "We think someone removable is inside." And boom, your doorframe gets splintered, your family gets woken up in terror, and your Fourth Amendment rights, the ones that are supposed to protect every single American home from exactly this kind of government intrusion, get treated like they don't even exist. This isn't a hypothetical dystopia script. This is real. This is happening right now, and it's already sparking lawsuits that could explode into landmark rulings. So let's go deep into exactly what this memo says, why civil liberties groups are losing their minds, how it's already being used in raids, and why legal experts are saying this could be the biggest Fourth Amendment fight in decades. The memo itself is dated May 12, 2025, signed by Acting ICE Director Todd Lyons. It's an internal field guidance document, never meant for public eyes, but someone inside the agency leaked it, and major outlets got hold of it in late January 2026. The key paragraph is short, cold, and terrifying in its clarity. Administrative warrants, Form I-205, issued by ICE, are sufficient authority to effect entry into a private residence when there is reason to believe the subject of the warrant is present, even absent consent or exigent circumstances. Agents may use reasonable force to gain entry if necessary. That's it. No mention of needing a judicial warrant. No requirement for a neutral magistrate to sign off. Just ICE saying, "We wrote this paper ourselves. That's good enough. Kick the door if they won't open it." This is a direct break from how warrantless home entries have been handled for over 40 years. Since the Supreme Court's 1980 decision in Payton versus New York, the rule has been crystal clear. You cannot force your way into someone's home to make an arrest without either a judicial warrant or true exigent circumstances, like someone inside screaming for help or evidence literally being destroyed right now. Administrative warrants? They've been allowed for arrests in public places or consensual entries, but never for breaking into a private home. This memo is ICE trying to create a brand new third exception out of thin air. And that's exactly why the civil liberties world is in full meltdown mode. The ACLU called it a blatant invitation to abuse, with no safeguards and no accountability. They've already filed lawsuits in multiple districts arguing that this policy is unconstitutional on its face. Immigrant rights organizations are warning we're about to see a wave of nighttime raids in communities that are already traumatized. Somali families in Minnesota, Latino neighborhoods in California, Haitian communities in Florida, where people wake up to boots kicking in their doors because ICE decided their own paperwork was enough. But here's the part that should make every American citizen or not. Sit up straight. The Fourth Amendment doesn't distinguish between citizens and non-citizens when it comes to the home. If ICE can do this to one group today, what stops them, or any other agency, from expanding the precedent tomorrow? FBI, ATF, DEA, even local police departments that get federal training and funding. Once the door is legally open for warrantless forced entry in immigration cases, it's open for everyone. That's why legal scholars are already calling this one of the most significant Fourth Amendment challenges since the post-9/11 surveillance era. If the courts let this stand, we're looking at a massive expansion of federal power to enter private homes without judicial oversight. If the courts strike it down hard, it could force ICE to rewrite its entire enforcement playbook. So what's the real-world impact right now? Raids are already happening under this guidance. In Minnesota, during the recent enforcement surge, agents have been documented using administrative warrants to enter homes without judicial approval, leading to protests, ACLU emergency filings, and at least one high-profile fatality during a raid. In California, a similar policy was challenged in 2025 and partially settled out of court. ICE agreed to stop using ruses to trick people into opening doors, but now they're skipping the trickery and going straight to breach and enter with their own paperwork. Lawsuits are piling up fast. The ACLU's Minnesota case, Hussen vs. Noem, filed January 15, 2026, directly attacks warrantless stops, warrantless arrests, and racial profiling during the surge. They're seeking class action status and a nationwide injunction to stop using administrative warrants for forced home entries. In Colorado, another ACLU-led challenge from late 2025 is still active, arguing unlawful detentions without probable cause and pushing for class certification to cover thousands of people affected by similar tactics. Senate Democrats Blumenthal, Booker, Padilla sent a blistering letter to DHS Secretary Noem demanding the memo be rescinded immediately and calling it illegal on its face. Even some Republicans are getting nervous. Lindsey Graham has quietly asked for briefings because he doesn't want this turning into another PR disaster like the family separation backlash. And the public reaction? Protests are building again in Minneapolis, Los Angeles, Chicago. Social media is flooded with videos of people showing reinforced door locks, security cameras, no ICE signs on front yards. The fear is real, and it's spreading fast. Now let's talk about the legal battlefield that's coming. This memo is almost certainly going to land in front of federal appeals courts within months, and quite possibly the Supreme Court within a couple of years. The core question the courts will have to answer: can an administrative warrant issued by the same agency that's doing the arresting ever satisfy the Fourth Amendment's warrant requirement for forced entry into a private home? Precedent says no. Payton v. New York, 1980, was explicit. Steagald v. United States, 1981, reinforced it. Even if you have an arrest warrant for a suspect, you still need a separate judicial search warrant to enter a third party's home. And in Welsh v. Wisconsin, 1984, the court made clear that the sanctity of the home is so high that warrantless entry is only allowed in the most extreme emergencies. ICE's argument that their own administrative warrant is good enough has been rejected in lower courts before. In Gonzalez v. ICE, 2019, the ACLU won class action status challenging warrantless arrests and secured significant limits on ICE's authority. In 2025, a Southern California settlement prohibited ICE from using deceptive ruses to gain entry, affirming that consent must be truly voluntary. This new memo is basically ICE testing how far they can push after those losses. If lower courts issue injunctions, and most experts think they will, ICE could be forced to halt forced entries nationwide pending appeal. If it reaches the Supreme Court, we're looking at a 5-4 or 6-3 decision that could either uphold the policy, giving federal agencies sweeping new home entry powers, or strike it down hard, reaffirming that only judicial warrants allow forced entry into private residences. Either way, this isn't going away quietly. So here we are, one leaked memo, one policy change, and suddenly the question isn't just about immigration enforcement anymore. It's about whether any of us still have a meaningful right to shut our front door on the government. That should scare the hell out of everyone. If it does, hit like, subscribe, turn on notifications. We're going to track every lawsuit, every hearing, every appeals court decision as this plays out, because this fight is coming fast, and it's going to affect all of us. I'm your host, Miles Brennan. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.